Hello everyone! Before we start, please subscribe to my channel as it inspires me a lot to make more useful content. Thank you! So in this video we're gonna discuss 10 things that can kill your bird and is it possible to avoid them? I'm not gonna tell you about food and chemical poisoning, toxic houseplants, cold draft or radiation, etc. You know, those things that you're mostly aware of. Only new facts that have happened with me, my friends, or other people in real life. So let's get straight to the point. Door incidents. This situation wins the first place when it comes to deaths that were caused by owners. This situation happens if your bird is allowed to fly in your house between rooms. So when you close in the doors, you accidentally kill your bird by closing the door on it. Unfortunately, this can happen to everybody. The only thing you can do is always keep an eye on your bird no matter what. Better give your bird just one room to fly in to avoid this petty incident. Walking on the floor. Does your bird like to play with balls or other toys on the floor? Then this might happen to you too. Let's say you are in a hurry and forgot that you let your bird out and it's on your floor. Eventually, you might accidentally step on your parrot and kill it. To avoid this petty situation, you need to stop letting your bird walk on the floor. Poisonous floor cases. Most of us eat wherever we want and vacuum whenever we have time. But what if you miss that harmful piece of food like a small piece of chocolate in your living room while your bird is playing on the floor? A bird would just eat that piece of chocolate and die. It's an incident but can be avoided, so please do not let your bird play on the floor because it can happen with you too. Furniture hazards. If your bird is very curious and likes to discover everything in a room, then this might happen with you. A bird can easily get stuck behind the furniture, and most of the time it's impossible to get him out of it without killing or hurting it. To avoid this, if you have a possibility to give your parrot a small room, then do it for God's sake. Then you won't have to experience this petty situation. Cable incidents. If your birds like to chew wires, then you need to stop it, or a bird can get poisoned or even electrocuted. To prevent this, you need to run your wires through some trunking or have plastic tubing. Even these are not parrot-proof, they will buy you some time in getting the parrot away from the cable before they chew through the cable. Extreme bird sleep. I don't know where it came from, but some sources advise people to let birds sleep out of the cage in a room at night. Well, let's figure out why it is so dangerous. First of all, birds cannot see good at night. That's why in the dark they can easily fly into anything in that room, and it can lead not only to brain and body injuries but also to their death. Night terrors, which you probably heard of in human children, also happen to many species of parrots. One can almost never be entirely sure of the origin of the night terror. It could be that the Budgie is waking from a bad dream, or that he opened his eyes during the night and saw a scary shadow of a bug. They are definitely primed to be freaked out after dark to begin with, because they are prey animals and they know it. So letting birds sleep out of the cage at night is a bad idea. Deep in the tea. Some people let their parakeets to drink from their cups or even glasses of water. But why it is so dangerous? I've seen so many cases when a bird was trying not only to drink from a glass of water, but also to take a bath, and eventually fell into a glass of water, stuck in it, and drowned, because nobody was around. The water shouldn't be very deep. About an inch deep is plenty for a budgie to bathe in. To prevent this, use only shallow bowls for taking a bath and a parrot water dispenser for them to drink water. Malted sprouts. Sprouts need moisture, proper temperature, and adequate air circulation. As they grow, sprouts release carbon dioxide and other gases and create waste that must be removed by rinsing. If the sprouts are moldy, throw them out and start a new batch. Of course, mold will not directly kill your parrot. With that being said, parrots have a sensitive respiratory system, and if they breathe in mold, they can develop a disease known as aspergillosis, which can be deadly. Sleep issues. If you are a night person and like to work at night, then your bird and you might have problems, because parrots need to sleep at least 10 hours a day. Some problems that might be exacerbated by lack of sleep could be feather plucking, excessive screaming, aggression, and excessive fear. To avoid it, you need to have a separate room for your parrot or a clothes cover for nighttime. Parrot nail problems. If you don't have a clue how to trim your bird's nails, or you're afraid of it, then let a vet do it for you. There are so many cases when parrot died because of non-stop bleedings or blood infections. So the best way to avoid this is to assign it to somebody else who has lots of experience in it and can manage to do it harmlessly. Well, that's all for now. Like, comment and share this video with your friends who you think should know this information. I wish you to learn wisdom by the follies of others. Be safe and sound. See you next week. Bye.